Welcome to New York City and the 37th running of the ING New York City Marathon. It's Sunday, November 5th, 2006, and we begin our coverage this morning on Staten Island at Fort Wadsworth along the shores of New York Bay, where more than 38,000 runners are gathering for the start. With a field this large, the runners will be divided into three groups, wearing orange, green, or blue colored bibs. Each group has its own pre-race area and corrals. With clothing bags in hand, more and more runners begin arriving at Fort Wadsworth. It is chilly here this morning, partly cloudy, with temperatures in the low 40s. Everyone is dressed in jackets and heavy sweatshirts. The pre-race is a great time to meet up with friends and running partners. Runners attach timing chips to their shoes. Some wake up with an energy bar and a cup of hot coffee, while this runner takes a moment to read up on the rules of the road. As the morning sun begins to peek through the trees, runners begin moving toward the starting corrals. Everyone looks eager to start as they pass under the large balloon archways. From the helicopter, we can see the corrals are filling up fast. The wheelchair and hand crank races are underway first. With the wheelers already on the course, the top women athletes are lining up for their early start. Kahle of Latvia is back to defend her crown. The American Dina Castor has hopes of winning today and adding New York to her impressive list of recent major marathon victories. Catherine the Great Dereba, the five-time Boston Marathon winner, is also here, along with fellow Kenyan and 2006 Boston champion Rita Jeptu. This is a dominant women's field. And with the sound of the horn, they're off at 9:35 a.m. The women quickly ascend the entrance ramp to the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. This is the largest suspension bridge in the United States. The 690-foot high towers support a center span of 4,260 feet. About halfway through the span, Kahle is running closely on the heels of Luminita Talpos, the pace setter. Prokopchika is pushing the pace early, while the rest of the women have chosen to hang back. Returning to the starting line, the elite men have come out to begin their warm-ups. Top Americans Meb Keflezighi, the Olympic silver medalist, and Alan Culpepper are here today. So is the Italian Stefano Baldini, the Olympic champion, and Hedrick Ramallah, a former winner from South Africa, is here, as is Paul Tergat, the reigning ING New York City Marathon champion. Deep in the field, the runners are eager to get the race underway. The national anthem is being sung here this morning by cast members of the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical, The Jersey Boys. The men's professionals are set to go. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg is the official starter. The ING New York City Marathon is officially underway at 10 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning. Here at Fort Wadsworth, Staten Island, a record 38,368 runners are embarking on a journey through all 5 of the city's boroughs. For nearly 10 minutes, runners will continue to flow out of the corrals, across the starting line, and onto the course. With the leaders approaching the center of the bridge, a fireboat pumps fountains of water from New York Bay. The men's pack is tight after 1 mile. These are some of the best conditioned athletes in the world, competing for a $130,000 first place prize. From the helicopter, we can see thousands of runners crossing the bridge, but that's only half of them. Thousands more are running on the lower level as well. The men's professionals are now running along 4th Avenue in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn. While more than 6 miles ahead, Tatiana Gladyer of Ukraine is leading the elite women. who have now formed up into a single-file pack of about 10 contenders. Yelena Prokopchika, the defending champion, is running second, followed by Lorna Kiplagat, Dina Castor, and the others. Near the finish line in Central Park, Kurt Fearnley of Australia is about to win the wheelchair race with a record-breaking time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 22 seconds. This feat is made all the more impressive by reports that Fearnley tipped over on the pavement midway through the course. Now rejoining the women, little has changed as they run through the Williamsburg area of Brooklyn. Back with the field, the fastest runners are nearing the 10-kilometer mark. Here on 4th Avenue, runners encounter the longest single stretch of the course. From 94th Street in Bay Ridge all the way up to Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn Heights, runners will cover nearly 6 miles, all on 4th Avenue. At 10 kilometers, the field is still separated according to their start group, with the blue and green bibs running on one side and the orange group on the other. The 10K distance is a signpost for marathoners, because the familiar training distance is a good place to evaluate pace and performance. Earlier, the women's leaders surged past the half marathon, crossing the Pulaski Bridge and entering the borough of Queens. Tatiana Gladger and Yelena Prokopchika have opened a 10-second lead on the others. The women ran a slow 1 hour, 13-minute, and 52-second split at the half marathon, so we should expect the race to pick up from here. Meanwhile, over in Central Park, the women's wheelchair race is a sprint to the finish. And the winner is Amanda McGrory of Illinois, finishing in 1 hour, 54 minutes, 19 seconds. The men's leaders are now charging through Brooklyn's Greenpoint neighborhood. Pace setters Joseph Kariuki and Julius Cabet are leading the pack along Nassau Avenue. Meb Keflezgi is out in front, while Alan Culpepper is running several rows back. Turning onto Manhattan Avenue, the men are streaking ahead toward the half marathon. Earlier, Prokopchika and Gladger crossed the 59th Street Bridge to Manhattan and are now running north along 1st Avenue. About 7 other competitors make up the chase pack. The men's leaders have just passed the half marathon on the Pulaski Bridge. In Queens, the lead pack is beginning to stretch out as they turn onto Jackson Avenue. Approaching the 59th Street Bridge, Rogers Ropp, the 2002 New York champion, makes the first move of the day. But by the next turn, Julius Cabet is back in front as they approach the bridge. Officially known as the Queensboro Bridge, the span passes over Roosevelt Island and the East River into Manhattan. Back in Brooklyn, the field has reached the half-marathon split. Here on the Pulaski Bridge, which spans Newton Creek, runners cross the line from Brooklyn to Queens. And from this vantage point, runners have a spectacular view of the Manhattan skyline. Before long, the bridge is jammed with runners, each happy to have reached the halfway point. Tatiana Gladger and Yelena Prokopchika have broken away from the women's pack and are running along 1st Avenue on the Upper East Side. On the 59th Street Bridge, Yusuf Galmin of Morocco has jumped out into the lead ahead of the pace setter. But after turning onto 1st Avenue, the pack regains its shape at the front. Hendrik Ramallah, the 2004 champion, moves up in front. He's looking over his shoulder, perhaps baiting the field or wondering who will give chase. Earlier, we looked in on Lance Armstrong, the Tour de France champion, who is running in his first marathon. Armstrong predicts he can finish the race in less than 3 hours. While the men's and women's races are shaping up in Manhattan, let's look back at a few of the pre-race activities that took place yesterday. On Saturday morning, the New York Roadrunners held the Continental Airlines International Friendship Run. This 3-mile event brings together 15,000 runners from around the world for a fun run from the UN to Central Park. On Saturday evening, runners packed the Marathon Eve dinner party, where carbo-hungry runners consumed more than 7,000 pounds of pasta. Each year, this popular event is held at Tavern on the Green near the finish line. After the all-you-can-eat dinner, a swing band provided entertainment before the fireworks got underway. Sponsored by Poland Springs, the marathon fireworks lit up the sky over Central Park. A Above the city, clear skies and a full moon herald a fantastic race day tomorrow. And a fantastic day it is here on this autumn Sunday morning in New York. The helicopter has just caught up with Yelena Prokopchika and Tatiana Gladyer running through Harlem beneath a canopy of fall colors. Turning on Fifth Avenue, Prokopchika is pushing the pace. She could be making her move as she strides ahead of Gladyer, the Rome Marathon champion. Prokopchika is looking very much like a repeat champion. Her form is fabulous. Prokopchika has taken command of the race. Gladyer is not answering the call. Back with the men's race. Marilson Gomes dos Santos of Brazil has made a move of his own. He's blasted out in front of the pack here in the Bronx. From the helicopter, we can see him streaking along 135th Street. Gomez has picked up the pace and none of the other competitors is responding to the challenge. This is Gomez's debut in New York City, and at this point, he's making the most of it. Back in the pack, Kahle and the other veterans are betting that the rookie will burn out. With Yankee Stadium looming in the background, we can see that Gomez has already put a considerable distance on the competition. With the men's and women's leaders en route to the finish, let's jump back to the 59th Street Bridge, where Lance Armstrong is running with a pace team that includes the legendary Joan Benoit Samuelson. About a half hour after the men's leaders pass 30 kilometers, the best of the amateur field is beginning to arrive at 30K. At first one by one, but now flowing continuously here along First Avenue on Manhattan's Upper East Side. Yelena Prokopchika, the 2005 champion, is running unchallenged on Central Park South with less than a half a mile to go. She makes the turn at Columbus Circle and dashes back into the park. Since last year's surprising win, Prokopchika has been training and competing at altitude in Switzerland. She's in remarkable condition. A win here today, which is obvious now, will catapult her to the top of the World Marathon Majors competition and a shot at the lion's share of a record $1 million purse. Prokopchika is the picture of running efficiency as she glides along Central Park West Drive toward the finish. She's waving to the crowd in the final 100 yards. Yelena Prokopchika is the 2006 ING New York City Marathon champion, finishing in a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 4 seconds. Draped in the flag of Latvia, Prokopchika is the reigning champion of New York once again. Now finishing second is Tatiana Gladyer of Ukraine in 2 hours, 26 minutes and 5 seconds. And here, Catherine Dereba narrowly outpaces fellow Kenyan Rita Jeptu for the third and fourth place finishes. The top women's trio celebrates together, smiling for the photographers. Back with the men's race, Marilson Gomes dos Santos is still the surprise leader heading into the final 2 miles. The Brazilian is running away with the race through Central Park. Back a short distance, Paul Tergat, the defending champion, and Stephen Kiagora, both of Kenya, are attempting to close the gap. At 25 miles, the pair continues to pursue the leader. On Central Park South, the Kenyan duo has closed to within 10 seconds of Gomez, but the Brazilian holds them off with a steady and confident stride. As he enters Columbus Circle, Gomez is on pace to win. He glances behind as he swings back into the park. With 400 meters to go, Gomez looks like our winner. Tergat and Kiagora have come up short in their come-from-behind challenge. Gomez is flying up the final hill as the first ever champion from South America. The crowd goes wild as the 2006 ING New York City Marathon champion breaks the tape in 2 hours, 9 minutes, 57 seconds. Stephen Kiagora of Kenya races up to take second, leaving his countryman Paul Tergat in third place. Prokopchika and Gomez will each receive $130,000 for their victories. Although the winners are in, The 37th annual ING New York City Marathon is far from over. With a record 38,368 starters, the course will remain open for hours. Up in the Bronx, the Madison Avenue Bridge is swarming with runners heading over the Harlem River back into Manhattan. Here at 21 miles, everyone looks remarkably fresh. Of course, this is almost perfect running weather. Cool temperatures and low humidity, with virtually no wind and slightly overcast skies. Back at the finish, Lance Armstrong, the 7-time Tour de France winner, is about to cross the finish line, completing his very first marathon, as predicted, in under 3 hours. But this race is not about celebrity. If it's about anything, it's about this fantastic city, New York City, the greatest and grandest city on earth. Up in Harlem, the course passes the statue of Duke Ellington, the maestro, on 5th Avenue and 110th Street. There are surprisingly few walkers at this point. Everyone appears to be keeping a fair pace. 5th Avenue is now jammed with runners heading south to 90th Street, where the course enters Central Park. Central Park is an 840-acre oasis in the urban chaos of Manhattan. Now inside the park, runners wind their way south on East Drive. At 24 miles, runners pass the Metropolitan Museum of Art and Cleopatra's Needle. As runners move farther south, they pass the boathouse on the edge of Central Park's lake. The mood is festive as thousands make their way through the park, encouraged along the way by friendly and cheering New Yorkers. With the Midtown skyline in view above the trees, runners know the end is near. These athletes are tired but determined to finish. At Columbus Circle, the celebration begins. Here the course turns right, down a footpath, and then onto the home stretch along West Drive. The finish line is next to Tavern on the Green on West 67th Street. The fastest amateur athletes begin finishing shortly after the professionals. The density of runners begins to reach a peak after 3.5 hours. These finishers have trained hard for this glorious moment. As they pass under the archways and over the mats, their official chip time is forever written into race history. Today, 37,840 men and women will officially finish the 2006 ING New York City Marathon, establishing yet another record for this great race. Finishing a marathon is a remarkable achievement, one few will ever forget. Congratulations. At the finish line stands the statue of Fred Lebow, founder of the New York City Marathon. Lebow could never have imagined that the race would grow from 55 runners in 1970 to more than 38,000 this year. After crossing the finish line, runners are presented with the coveted Finisher Medal. With Finisher medals worn proudly, everyone begins to relax and reflect on the journey that took them 26.2 miles, from Staten Island to Central Park, with 5 boroughs and 5 bridges in between, and all inside a few hours, more or less. As they continue walking, runners receive a foil blanket to help regulate body temperature. Water and energy drinks are provided. Volunteers help runners remove timing chips. Everyone continues to move forward in an orderly fashion. Walking is actually an important part of the cool-down process. It helps bring the body back into balance. Eventually, arriving at Central Park West, runners meet up with family and friends. hours to come, runners will continue streaming across the finish line. And although Yelena Prokopchuk and Marilson Gomez de Santos are the official champions, every finisher is a winner today in the 2006 ING New York City Marathon. Congratulations.